I'll come running, oh, I will do what you say, cause you love me, oh, I will make Jesus proud, will be ready, oh, when you send me, oh. Okay, let's get to it. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria Ayadele Fash. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for being here. How are you guys doing? Okay, so today again we're going to make it a very quick one. Please remember to subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, please like this video. It's very important. Okay, all right guys, thank you guys for your continuous support. So today I want us to talk about sex. Yes, it's been a while I talked about sex on this channel, and it's just because life has been lifing. And yeah, it's been a while, but I do talk about, in case you're new here, I talk about relationship, marriage, sex, career. I talk about a lot of things on this channel. I do a lot of vlogs, well, some vlogs. And yeah, so today we'll be talking about the topic of sex, just because I had two particular questions that I want to address in this video from people who have been following my content. So if you follow me from like beginning, you know that one of the major things I used to talk a lot on this channel is how to have a healthy, beautiful sex life in your marriage. And yeah, and that's what I'll be talking about in today's video. Okay, so I'll be reading some of the questions that I got, two of them. I'll start with the first one, which is the first thing I want us to address in this video, and then we'll read the second one, which is equally very important. And I believe that a number of you might learn a thing or two from the video. So she said, hello, my name is this. I have been following your channel for a very long time. You're one of the people that really helped me to prepare, for sex in my marriage, and I'm really grateful, And then she said, I am, 26 years old. I got married last year. I got married last weekend, and I am almost regretting it. Although he has apologized now, my husband was questioning my virginity because he was expecting me to bleed. In this day and age, okay. And I tried to explain to him that it's not everyone that does, but he was adamant. To think that penetration was not easy, was not so easy either. I was sore with a lot of pain for a while, and I think that he somehow believed that I was faking the pain, or he believed at the time that I was somehow faking the pain. It was after he did his research that he apologized, but I'm still upset. Can you please address this again? I know that you've done that in previous videos before, but I'll be grateful if this is something that you can discuss. Is bleeding after sex for the first time a myth, or is it just me that is different? Okay. All right. So let us get into that. All right. So again, I don't think that with the amount of information, now I remember when I started talking about sex before marriage, and how, yeah, I still believe in that. I know that there are a lot of opinions in the world right now about, sex before marriage. A lot of people have opinions. And I think, having sex, casual sex now has become so common in our world. And especially with, social media and, making it seem as if those that are doing the right thing are the odd ones. And those that are doing the wrong thing, it's now they are now the normal people. You understand that? And I can see how a lot of us can get very lost in that narrative. And, there are so much narrative that are being pushed about, oh, God is not really after this, it doesn't really matter. As a matter of fact, just today, this afternoon, there was this pastor either in Kenya or in Ghana, I think in Ghana, and he was on the altar and he was literally telling the people, and he said, I wish I saved that video. And he said, I am your father. I am your father. That is, obviously, is their spiritual father. That's what he's saying. He said, I am your father, and I am telling you, don't marry anybody until you've had sex with them, right? So, and this is the man that was saying it on the altar of God. Well, on the altar, maybe whatever altar that he is raising, but he was saying it there, like there's nothing like fornication in the Bible. And so many narratives, which, to be honest, if you're a Christian and you understand some of the signs of the end time, you realize that these are just normal things. Before, you see, one of the biggest things you need to know when we are getting to that time. So if you go back to the time in the Bible when before the flood happened, and we're talking about before the end comes, when you look at that era before during Noah's time, one of the the biggest things was, it says the sons of the sons of demons were meeting with the sons of men, and they were creating giants. There were a lot of sexual perversions and so much wickedness that was going on, and then God wiped out the earth, right? And then if you go back to look at the Sodom and Gomorrah, and a lot of things, even going back to contemporary, maybe not contemporary, but there were times before, when the Roman Empire and and all those big empires, go and look, before they fell, before the fall came, there were always sexual perversion in the area, or in there was an outburst of sexual perversion right before the end comes. So if you study your Bible a lot and you actually follow the trends before destruction happens, you will see that a lot of things that are happening in our world today, a lot of narratives that are being pushed, that is making sacred things common, that is making things that should not be, that is making it look like common sense and normal things in the world. You realize that these are patterns of the end time, right? So it is not a surprise to us. But you see, that's why the Bible says that even on that day, let he that thinketh that he stands, let him take heed lest he falls. Because it said even the very elect, even the ones that God has, preordained to be one of the elect, even if they are not careful, they also will fall, right? Because a number of things that should not be will become common. And you see, we are living in an age, God, I don't know why I'm going to this area, but I promise you we'll get back, right? We are living in an age where people read social media followers, they read social media influencers instead of the Bible. So a person will wake up and maybe God gave them a personal revelation, and they come out to tell it to the world and make it a rule to a lot of people. And because you don't study your Bible enough to realize that these things are not necessarily good, they make you start to question a lot of things. And I don't know if you follow the trend on social media now, a lot of people come out to talk about, oh, I had the Holy Spirit told me this and that. The first thing they start with, oh, fasting is not this. They come to start to question the fundamental things that has helped us to build our faith. You see, the Bible talked about moving this ancient landmark, and they keep moving the ancient. He said we should be careful not to move the ancient landmark that our fathers have set. But they come and tell you, there's nothing like deliverance. Oh, there's nothing like fasting. Oh, there is nothing like this. Oh, but they won't tell you not to fast. But it's not really. You start to get those subtle message that makes you to become spiritually lukewarm without even knowing it, right? So, anyways, again, I deviate, okay? Just to let you know that because it has become common does not mean that it is right. You can still stand for the truth, right? You can still stand on the word of God. And yes, there's love, there's grace in God. There's something that this was, ministering to my heart this morning, but that's not what we are going today. We're talking about myth. I deviate. If you know me, if you're new on this channel, this is something I do, so just bear with me, okay? Anyway, so yes, I used to talk a lot about, sexual and I was going to say that when I started talking about it, it was because it was something that I've encountered. I've passed through a lot of sexual dysfunction, before, thank God for where we are now, right? And I felt like there were a number of things that were not being said that needed to be said at that time in the Christian community. There are a lot of content about sex, too much, right, than we need from the worldly side. But then when it comes to like Christianity, it is a topic that we were not really bold. And I said where because I realized that I think from 4 years ago when I started sharing this, there's so much content that has come from the Christian perspective. A number of content creators from Christian homes have come out, talk about their experiences to help other people. So it's not a topic as tabooish, I would say, or as sacred as it used to be, right? It's now something that Christians are now coming out to speak about boldly. You even see in the CSC church, I was listening to one, very old Asian, well, not Asian, like an elderly CSC man, preaching in Yoruba to women about, sex and all of those things in the church. So you start to see that, okay, this is a topic that we are now beginning to embrace, to now take back the narrative from the world and, say it give it a perspective and also put it in the confines of marriage, right? So that's why seeing this message, I'm like, if someone had sent me this 4 years ago, I wouldn't be as surprised. But I feel like we ought to have known there's so much, not just, experiences, but a lot of educational content out there. So let us know that, okay, first of all, I don't think bleeding is a myth, right? It is not a myth. A number of people do that. We've talked about hymen. We've talked about that a lot of women, the shape of the hymen is different. For a number of people, for some people, there are holes in them. For some people, if you actually go and study what the hymen looks like, you see that it is, for some people, it is sealed. For some people, it's just a tiny hole. For some people, there are polka dots of holes in there. For some people, it's, so it's different for a lot of people. So for a person who has it sealed, the person might might get to bleed out, maybe not bleed, or maybe spot, I would say, maybe we should put it that way, you know, but have a little bit of bleed than a person that had a looser hymen, right? And it's not because, you know, you've had sexual encounter before or anything that made you to, you know, lose your hymen or whatever. But the fact is, we've talked about how, I mean, it's common knowledge now that a lot of things can make you do that, right? So the major thing that makes a woman bleed is the hymen. And you can lose your hymen in so many ways: in sports, riding horses, riding bicycle, a lot of things. And sometimes you lose it, you don't even know. You just bleed out and you just think, oh, it's normal, right? So you don't even notice when you lose it, right? And for some people, they don't even have, right? They don't have it, right? So I feel like this is the number of things about, you know, virginity and all of that, that a number of things were built by Nollywood that makes you feel like, oh, once a woman then bleed, you know, when after she has sex for the first time, there has to be blood on the bed, you know, like period blood or something. I don't think that is the fact. For a number of people that I have spoken to, you know, especially during the time I used to talk a lot about, you know, sex and all in marriage, it was not like that for them. You know, they didn't bleed. It's just a few handful of people. Again, remember, it is the size and the shape and the whatever, you know, or even the existence of a hymen that makes it possible. But because a person does not have the hymen anymore, does not mean that they're no longer a virgin, right? So there are a number of things that you would know, right? So it's the way you would, you know, have intercourse with a person who isn't, it's not as easy with a person who is, right? You have to do a lot of things. We have a lot of videos about this, you know. It can be very difficult for, you know, if it's your first time. It will be very difficult if it's your first time. I have videos about this, you know, I've done videos about this before. So obviously, in case for some reason you are like this lady's husband, I hope you realize that, you know, because the bleeding doesn't happen doesn't mean the person is lying. I think everybody should know this. This should be common knowledge. And that thing that they lied, and I've shared my own experience. For me, I didn't bleed out. It was mostly, you know, when I was done, I went to the bathroom and I cleaned up and I saw, you know, that I had actually spotted. It wasn't like blood. It was just like, oh yeah, it was there. But my husband would not have seen it because I went to the bathroom, right, to use the restroom. So you understand that. So, and for a number of people that I've spoken to, you know, it's like that for them too. They clean up and they find it, you know. So it's again, and for some people, they actually stay in the bed. Really. First of all, you should trust your partner. If they tell you this is who they are, then you should believe them, right? And you will know. I just feel like you will know if the person is, right? And I want to believe that there are a lot of things that, you know, because she said that sex was even difficult for them, penetration was difficult. Those are the signs, right? So you don't wait for a blood to confirm if a person is a virgin. Kai, we shouldn't be doing that at this day and age, okay? So in case anybody's twisted, I said, I don't think that it's a myth, right? I don't think that, you know, I just feel like it will be different for different people, but some will bleed, some will not bleed, some will spot, some will not even see any trace of blood, because again, the hymen doesn't exist, right? So there are women who were born without it. So I don't think that should be a measure stick or yardstick to be measuring a woman who is a virgin or not. No. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. So, and then I want to know, for those who, you know, your first time having sex, whether it's in marriage or not, hopefully it is, but if not, how was the experience like for you? I'd like you to share in the comment section. Did you bleed out? Did you spot? What was it like for you? I would really like to know. Maybe this person will read the comments and actually say that she's not alone, okay? All right, I want to quickly go into the second message I got. She said, I'm in my early 30s. She said hi and all of that, right? I'm in my early 30s. I relocated to the UK with my husband a little over a year ago as he's dependent. We are trying to conceive. We've been married for only 2.5 years, but I find myself not sexually attracted to my husband anymore. I love him, but the sexual attraction seems to have died and he's beginning to notice, and I'm getting worried. The truth is that it has not been easy on me. Between trying to work odd jobs to pay tuition and sponsorship, and you know, and getting sponsorship, and my husband only allowed to work 20 hours, I have lost the attraction that I used to have for him, because sometimes he doesn't even do anything and I feel stressed and tired in the house. He no longer provides for me the way he used to when we were in Nigeria, and I feel like that is why I am a bit distant. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? Okay, now for this particular lady, I would tell you that you're not the first person, you're not the second or the third person that I've had this conversation with. Some are with friends, some are with, you know, people who have reached out to me just like you did about, you know, the toll that it takes on a woman when she becomes the sole provider in the house. And I think I've even said this, maybe not sole provider, or maybe the major provider, the major source of income in the house. I think I've said this, even in previous video, that there is a toll that he takes on you, right? I know we are in a social world. What a man can do, a woman can do, blah, 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 blah. Me, I don't believe in what a man can do, because the one that a woman can do, I've not finished doing it. Why do I want to try the one that a man can do? Right? Yes, we are equal. Yes, there should be equal opportunities and all of that, right? But you see, when it comes to marriage, right, whether we like it or not, there are certain things that a woman expects and wants in a marriage, right? There's certain burdens that a woman is not made to carry, whether you like it or not. And the same thing with a man. A man was not built to carry a child. A man was not built to, breastfeed and nurture a child, right? They are built to be a protector. They are built even from their frame, even from the way, they think, the wiring in their brains, even from, a lot of things shows that they were built to be, certain way, and a woman was built to be certain ways. So, and whether we like it or not, regardless of what the world says, it is in our being, it's in our DNA, right, as women, to be vulnerable, especially in the context of marriage, right? So I totally get what she's saying, because again, I've had this conversation with a number of people. Coming to the UK can be very difficult. Not just the UK, in Canada, it happens everywhere, especially if you were raised in that patriarchal culture, such as Nigeria, where you see a man as the provider of the home. You see your father doing the provision, even though in some homes it's not, but you see it as an expectation, right? And then you come to the Western world where things are split at 50-50. You go on a date, the dates that invited you for a date expect you to pay 50% of the bill. You understand that kind of thing, or pay for your own meal and all of that. So you start to see a lot of cultural dynamics and cultural shock in the house, or rather in the country. And the same thing happens for men too, right? You being the provider, but then you come here and you realize that, okay, sometimes your wife has to take up the responsibility of being the provider, and you have to be the caregiver, take care of the home, take care of the children and all of that in the house. So that switch of gender roles can cause friction in the marriage, especially if you don't prepare yourself mentally before you come to a country like this. I know for me and my husband, it was something that, well, for me, I am the student, right? And where it's even difficult for me, because when we're in Nigeria, I'm used to working. I work all the time. I was working 2 jobs in Nigeria, including YouTube, which is 3 now, if you're counting YouTube to it, because I used to create content a lot, right? And I was working 2 full-time jobs, and then, I've always been like that. Since I left my parents' house for my 100 level, I've been paying my rent. I've been doing this. I love being independent. So that's who I have been. I've never been out of a job for, before I got married, I was never out of a job for more than a month or 2. I always had something that I was doing, right? So, and that is me, right? And then I got married. It was the same thing. I was working 2 jobs in Nigeria. I went to the United States. I was working my ass off. I was providing for myself, right? So coming here and having to, now be the student who is working and who is schooling and working just a few hours, and allowing my husband to be the one to literally rely on my husband for a lot of things, you start to see it does have a toll on me as a person, just because that is my personality. Not because I don't like it. Or in short, I used to think that I would not enjoy it. Whoa. You see, now I enjoy spending my husband's money like never before, right? So yes, that's just to say that even though I was built and I love working and all of that, there is this sense of satisfaction when I feel like, okay, my man is the one providing for me. And I think every woman, if you're being honest, in the context of marriage, and I'm not saying that every woman, especially if you're not married and then you are waiting for a man to be the provider. No, I'm just saying that in the context of marriage, there are certain responsibilities that you expect your husband to perform. And whether you like it or not, those things do affect the way your affection is towards the person, including your sexual affection. It happens, right? It's just like when a man says that he's no longer attracted to the woman. I'm not saying this is right, but maybe the woman added weight. We're not talking about anything that has to do with pregnancy, cycle, and all. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about physical attraction for men, because again, we all know men are moved by what they see, women are moved by what they hear and how they feel, right? So if the woman is not seeing those appealing things, and then he feels like he's not as sexually attracted to the wife as he should be, it's just a normal thing. And even though we can say it's not right, it is just the way everyone's brain is wired, right? Our individual preferences. It's the same way a woman that a man is not providing for, she's working, she's doing everything, would feel like she's not feeling that, she's not getting that energy, and it's not making her to feel sexually attracted to the other person. But you see, life happens. Like I said, a woman would, get pregnant, she would give birth, or she would go through a lot of things in her body, hormones and all of that would make her gain weight, and sometimes, that she did not even plan to gain. And it will happen, or the man will lose his job and he will not be able to be that provider for the house, and the roles will switch because life happens, right? But the thing about human is that of all the creatures that God created, we are adaptable. We have what's this thing, instinct. We have the ability to reason, right? So when we are placed in a situation like this, I always say that the first thing you need to do, if you need to prepare your mind ahead. You need to first of all understand what the culture is like there. For a lot of us, we know, but we don't prepare our mind. I remember this was something that me and my husband actually had to literally sit down and discuss, right? So if you will be the provider in the home, did you guys discuss about, okay, how is the dynamics going to be like? Will you be taking care of the home and I will have to work? Are you cool with this? Am I cool with this? What are the things that might affect us? What are the things that we might need to watch out for? What are some of the things that I would like from you, to be able to help us in our marriage or in our sexual life, for us to be able to, and all of that, because she mentioned that they were trying to conceive. And if you're not attracted to him, how are you going to, do that? Get the child you're looking for. So it is a huge deal. And I wish that, there is one magic word that I would say that will, cure everything for you. I just want you to know that it is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. But one thing I would say is, you guys have to work at it. You need to find out. I understand it's not providing yet, but I need you to understand that it's just for a while. So is it doing the other things that he's supposed to do? Is it taking care of the home? Is it, is it trying his best? Is it, because it's not easy. Trust me, I'm sure for the man also, it's not easy to watch his wife doing all of that whilst he is just, for a lot of men that are reasonable, that are responsible, it's not easy for them to also, go through that. So have you spoken to him about how you're feeling? One thing about marriage, I know it is a tough conversation. I can't imagine my husband coming to tell me that I don't feel sexually attracted to you, but I would rather he tells me and we have that conversation and we clear our head and then we can work on it, than for him to be feeling that way and keeping quiet, right? So obviously it's not going to, there are ways you would say it to the person. So maybe not go and tell him I'm not sexually attracted to you anymore or whatever, but maybe try to figure out what are some of the things. Is it that he doesn't dress up as much anymore? He doesn't take care of you, or even, you see, sometimes it's not even about him being able to provide the entire thing, but maybe, oh, you're going to make your hair, I don't have much, but take this amount of money I use it to make your hair, or let me go take you out on a date. Maybe we don't have a lot, but let's go on a walk. A number of things that maybe might not cost him much, but that he's not taking the initiative to do, that might help you. Maybe he's so focused on his school or his studies, or he's so, he's not in the right frame of mind because he feels like you are taking too much burden, that sometimes he feels guilty. That has happened to me in my marriage before. A lot of men will feel guilty to make the move, to even not try. You understand that? So I don't know what the dynamics is, but you guys have to have a conversation. You need to, and before you have that conversation, you need to really ask yourself, why am I not? What are the things that he's doing that might be affecting it? Is it really just because if it's just because the provision, it's something you have to deal with, because again, you have to understand that it is just for the meantime. It is just for a while. The time is, once school is done, you've been here over a year now, so you have just a few more months to go. You will be earning better. You will be able to relax. So when you have that notion in your mind that I'm not doing it for him, I'm doing it for a family, I'm doing it for the meantime before he takes up the responsibility and all of that, then that would help. So maybe have a conversation with him and tell him, this is how I've been feeling. I've been exhausted. I'm tired. I don't feel attractive anymore, maybe because I'm cleaning people's bum all day. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Or maybe I'm standing in factory all day because she says she's doing odd jobs. I don't know what odd jobs it is, and I'm tired and I'm this and that. How can we help each other, and all of that? Maybe you guys definitely need to have that conversation, so that you let him know maybe there's a little bit of role that you play. That's why I said the first thing you need to do is to be honest with yourself. Is it because you're tired, you're exhausted? Is it because you're frustrated at some of the things that he's doing, or some of the things that he's not doing? So analyze it yourself to find out exactly what is the root cause of the problem, right? And then have a conversation about it. And if it's about the finances, talk to him like, you know, I just realized that, you know, I mean, it's the reality. I don't feel as, you know, those things, maybe because I'm tired and I'm, you know, I don't feel taken care of and all of that. I feel like these are the things that you can do to improve. You need to have that conversation. Marriage is 80% communication. I'm telling you, you need to have conversations, even the tough conversations with him in a loving and kind way, right? So, and I believe if the goal for him and for you is the, you know, the growth of your marriage, I think those conversations would actually help. So I think you really need to tell him how you're feeling and first analyze it from yourself. Find out why, get, you know, what are the things that you'd like him to do that might improve your sexual attraction towards him? What are some of the things that you need to improve in yourself, in your mind, in your, maybe renewing your mind to understand that, you know, the season will end and, you know, a new season will begin and all of that. You need to find out from inside, where is this coming from? Why am I not feeling this anymore? What are the things that he's not doing? What are the things that he's doing? What are the things that I am feeling? What are the things that might be the reason for me that I need to work on? And have that conversation and then put steps in place. And, you know, I'm just saying, because sometimes we couples, sometimes we fall into that trap of we talk and there's no action. So we talk about it and then we'll talk about, okay, these are the things that we'll do every month to make sure that, you know, we get back that spark in our marriage, right? And I believe that. And sometimes it's just you thinking back in Nigeria, what were the things that you used to do, apart from him providing, obviously, which he might not be able to do as much. What are some of the things that he, you know, you guys used to do to be able to keep that spark alive, and start to implement those things if you've forgotten them, if you've kind of left them behind, which is easy to do when you're in the Western world, but maybe try to find those things out and, you know, start to implement them. So those are the advice that I would give. If you have any advice for this lady, please leave it in the comment section below. I'm sure that she'll be grateful to read from you guys. So this is where we're going to end the video for today. I would really love to hear your feedback on this video. What do you think about the first thing we spoke about? What was your experience? And then what advice would you give to this lady? Thank you guys so very much for watching. Please remember to leave a comment in this video. I like to read your comments, but please make sure you share this video. You never can tell who this video is going to help. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Okay, all right, so until we meet again, I still remain Victoria Ayodele Fashion. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have an amazing week. Okay, bye. Bye guys.